you can take your belt and shove it up your ass.
And I don't know why I'm having this weird lucid moment with you, Lou. But,
I get them out of everybody, damn it. I get them all the time.
You're building something out there, and
So they actually took half my skull out.
Whoa.
It's going to be Marcus Swift, Roman 5-0, and Dmitry Alexandrov.
Yeah, what? Spooky Lou, another wonderful WrestleRoni for me and for you. We've made it to the finish line. A podcast every day, finishing it up with the submission politician himself, Jordi Walker, all the way from the UK. How you doing, my man?
Could be better. I mean, after all, you did keep me waiting, and I'm a politician. We don't like being kept waiting now.
My apologies. I did mistakenly book 2 podcasts on the same day. Brian Hardy ran a little over, and he likes to talk. My apologies, sir. I appreciate your patience.
It's all good. It's all good. How are you doing today?
Oh, man. It's cold over here in the States. What's going on over there?
Yeah, it's cold over here. I think we've just about gone back down into freezing temps. So.
Yikes. Well, that's enough about the weather. Let's talk some wrestling. What's going on in the wrestling world over there?
Oh, it's been mad. It's been a wild 10 months to a year.
Yeah.
So I'm with CPW, Certified Pro Wrestling, and we started up, I think it was April last year. So the team's come together quite nicely, actually. There's a group of 25, 30 of us in total. It's quite distasteful, actually, for me, because, I mean, I'm all about education, so I think the school's great. But at the same time, I've got the background, taekwondo, kickboxing, MMA. A lot of these idiots just haven't got a clue.
No?
But it's great. It's great that they're trying and that they're giving effort. They just need more education, which is why I think it's great that we've got a good head coach. I mean, without him, we'd all be swimming, let's face it.
It sounds like even you respect this head coach. Tell me about this head coach.
Ali, okay. He's been in the business, I think. I'm going to do him disservice here because I think it's about 20 odd years.
Okay.
I might be putting a few years on him there though. But he's fantastic. He knows his stuff. I'm more into tech, and that's his style as well. So it fits me like a glove, really. There.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my God, my words will come out in a minute. And he's educating us, which is great. Like I said, those of us that have actually got a proper fighting background and actually deserve this platform, I think he's do a fantastic job for. The rest of them, they're inept. What can I say?
Some of them don't deserve it, you say?
Background. It's all about status. It's all about education. Yeah, what can I say? Some of them are just completely uneducated and inept. But it's great that they're trying. I think, as I said, there's 30 of us in total, and it's been great to see how 30 people of different backgrounds, different skill levels, and everything can come together. Yeah, it's just
okay.
Some of us deserve to be here.
I got you. I can see where you're coming from. So you say this started last April, correct?
Yeah, last April, yeah.
All right. I don't know if you were there at the very beginning stages, but take me to the beginning, at least where you're involved. How many folks was there? The atmosphere? Take me to the beginning of this deal.
Well, I was there week 1.
Okay, cool.
So the parent promotion, if you like, CXW Championship Extreme Wrestling. I'd been to. They were my first live event as just in general.
Nice.
I went there before I went to. I think it was the first All In, which I totally did not enjoy.
No.
Nah, the smaller events just you can see things for one. I mean, I was up in the nosebleeds. I didn't get the VIP seats that clearly, as a politician, I deserve. So I was up in the nosebleeds, and you can barely see anything. They're like little ants down there, doing what they're doing. You can barely hear anything, and I mean, I'm autistic, so I'm not one for crowds anyway. And like that whole live event experience to me doesn't really do anything for me. But at a smaller event where you can actually see what's going on, and I mean, half the time at smaller shows, you're whether you're uh, part of the talent or part of the crowd, you end up getting involved because things spill out over,
Exactly.
and the barriers aren't necessarily there.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I've been there since week one. I think there was about 20 of us initially.
Okay.
So we've grown over the 10 months, which is great. And I think after Sunday, it's our first show, graduation day, and so I no doubt we'll grow even further. Hopefully, we'll get some more educated people with decent backgrounds in.
Yeah.
That's all I can hope for.
Well, I mean, it takes all varieties, all walks of life, and especially over here in the States, it's just different types of crazy, man. So
It does. I mean, the uneducated give me opponents, so bring it on.
There you go, and you have the education and so you have that on them. So you've got the advantage. Tell me about the pressures of heading into this first show. That's pretty exciting.
See, for me, the weird part. Well, I guess it's not that weird. I mean, the background, kickboxing, MMA, taekwondo,
Mm-hmm.
MMA. I've done in front of crowds. With the politics side of things as well, giving speeches. I've been on radio shows.
Nice.
So actually, like being on stage or being in front of a crowd isn't necessarily the issue, but it's a different type of crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, you can ignore the crowd, dismiss the crowd. I mean, who cares about the crowd? Most of the time, they're uneducated anyway.
Right.
But this is different because I've got to feel the crowd. I've got to be with the crowd. I've got to hope the crowd is somewhat there. I mean,
Right.
politics. I've got to get them to vote for me. I mean, I need to be voted in as the next champion. So that's my end goal.
Is that how y'all's handling it? You doing a vote to crown a champion? Are you? I bet you're not.
Well. I mean, no matter how they decide to go about crowning their champion, I think as long as I can get enough votes from the crowd, I have to be in that picture, have to be in that conversation.
Sir, with all due respects, I know politics, I know politicians. You want that crowd there to pay for the ticket. Therefore, more money is in your promotion, and you might get more of the pie down the line. That sounds like politics to me.
See, you would think that, but our promoter is a tax man.
Oh.
He hikes up the ticket prices just for himself. So like, you would think that, but I'm all for lower ticket prices because that gets more feet through the door, more people to hear the message, and more people to be educated.
There you go. And it sounds like you have faith. If those folks come in the door, they'll come back next time with some friends. You think?
Oh, for sure. I mean, just with the I don't want to say lack of, because the indie the Brit Rest scene it's incredible.
Okay.
But I mean, myself, the SPP, which is the party that I represent, I mean, we're here to make Brit Rest great again. So the fact that we're needed to make Brit Rest great again kind of tells you something about the Brit Rest scene in general. So, I mean, there's no reasons that we can't get fans coming back.
I'm very curious about the Bret Rest scene. I'm glad you brought that up because I was watching Defiant pay-per-views over here and What Culture and the story going around, so you confirm or deny, that daggone Triple H and that NXT UK came in and just killed the whole scene, killed a whole continent with NXT UK. How true is that? What are you seeing? You're there in the front lines. What's going on over there?
So I actually wasn't in the industry back then. And I mean, here's something that will shock people, or maybe not, given who I am. Wrestling wasn't really my thing.
Okay.
I didn't really watch that much of it. I watched back in the days when the Shield debuted.
Okay.
Stopped watching probably around about three years later. So whilst I knew that NXT UK was a thing, because at the time I was also watching Defiant and WCPW before that. So I obviously had a vague idea of what was going on, but I honestly haven't got a clue. I know there was a couple of different things that coincided with NXT UK, from things I've heard through training and everything. But I think it probably contributed to it. But wrestling has its ups and downs.
Of course.
Through the 80s and 90s, dipped through the early 2000s, grew again into the teens. So I mean, thankfully, we're now going back into that. Wow. I say we're going back into it. We will be going back into that uptick because the SPP and myself are going to make sure of it. That's what we're here for.
Well, good.
So we are going to see a prosperous age of Brit Rest again.
I'm all for it. You guys can be the new Mustache Mountain, huh? Well, what they call themselves something as a trio too, with Pete Dunne and well, you know what I'm talking
And
about.
I think they've got a new name now over in WWE as well.
Yeah, I can't keep up with all the names.
Yeah, no, it's there's more there's more name changes in wrestling than there is backhanders in politics. And that says something.
There you go, good comparison. And I have to say, anytime I peek in on a Progress pay-per-view or ICW, things are looking good to me. I mean, I've seen some of those big ICW crowds and everything from the past, but it looks like things are thriving. You tell me, I figure fans are coming out to shows. We doing all right over there? How's it looking as of right now?
I think it depends where you are,
Okay.
how you're promoting the show, what talent you've got on the show. I mean, there's some shows that will draw crowds of 20, 30. There's other shows that will get the big crowds, like you said, with the Progress, the ICWs, the Rev Pros. So it all depends. I mean, there's loads of talent. I mean, I see some of the guys that are out there, and I'm in awe. I mean, I've been training now for 10 months in this, so I see some of the guys out there that have been in it. I mean, we've had down at the school, we've had Johnny Storm. He comes in,
Nice.
and he's fantastic. I mean, like absolute legend on the Brit Rest scene. So we've had Leonardo Darwin down, we've had Brett Semtex down. So we've had some of the heavy hitters in Brit Rest down.
Good.
And it's awe-inspiring, the knowledge that they have and they can pass on. It's a shame that not everybody decides to utilize that, but what can you say? You can take a horse to water, you can't force it to drink.
There you go. You're exactly right. And you mentioned your MMA background. I'm very curious about that because I know little about MMA, very little. I'm curious how it's doing over there, how you got involved with it, and kind of how it compares to the independent wrestling scene that you've seen.
So I did it. So I started off with Taekwondo.
Okay.
Back when I was probably 11, 12 years old.
Okay.
Moved on to kickboxing and boxing, which I did both of them at the same time. Didn't do any of that competitively, really. And Taekwondo I did a little bit, but not that much.
Okay.
And then I was probably 16 when I got into MMA. And I kind of just fell into it. I was at college. I knew somebody else that was going. I went along because I like fighting.
Okay.
And it kind of went from there. I did it for a couple of years. Got injured when I was 18, doing something completely separate, and never done it since.
Okay.
Which is why this is a perfect fit, really. So yeah, this is my way of getting back into it without, like, absolutely going all out like I used to.
There you go. Without getting punched in the head, there's a big difference. I totally get it. And there's nothing
I'm still
wrong.
going to get punched in the head
Yeah.
on Sunday, guaranteed.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. You're right. And believe me, bouncing that mat ain't no joke either. And it shouldn't be your head if you're doing everything right. But enough on your shoulders and back, you're gonna feel it. So. Oh man, so you say things started in April with this training class. You guys have been training all this time. You got the big show coming up. Let's at least put somebody over. Besides yourself, I'm sure you're the best in the class, but who's some other guys that's really making strides in the class?
The main event's going to be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
So the main event, we've got Duffer against Alf Everest.
Okay.
Probably two of the best guys in the school. Other people might not like me for saying that, but I mean they are in the main event, so
Okay.
got to give credit where credit due. We've got Big Rig. He's huge, man. You need to see Big Rig.
Okay.
Oh my God! Like, don't put me in him. Don't put me in the ring with that man. I am gonna hightail it out of there. Like, that's not happening. He's huge.
Big dude.
Like, he's literally built like a truck. Big Rig. It's kind of like he is literally.
He's living the gimmick. Come on, big.
He
dude.
is what he is. Yes,
Nice.
and he will roll over anyone that gets in his way.
Okay, I dig it.
But yeah, we've got some good guys, and then we've got some of the youngsters as well. They've got the first match. They're doing a 4v4, and that's going to be great. The head coach put that one together, as far as I'm aware.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think things like that they're younger, they're getting the education in the industry that they need, they're getting the exposure that they need, they're getting that part on the show as well.
Right.
Which is great because we can educate them on how everything needs to be done.
Okay. All right. So everybody's gimmick, it draws from something. So in wrestling, a politician, I'm for it. That's different. I dig it. Why a politician? What's in the background? Where'd you draw that from? Why a politician?
It's just totally me. If I was a billionaire, I'd be running for Prime Minister of the UK.
Okay.
But I'm not a billionaire, and I don't have connections, and I don't like party politics either because I'm not into that kind of thing. So. Yeah, so politics is all me. I've been into it since. Oh, I remember telling my old man who to vote for back in the 2010 general election.
Really?
And I was born in 97, so I'd have been 13.
Really?
And he asked me who to vote for. And so, yeah, so I've been into it since I was like 9, 10, 11, 12, somewhere around there. Which sounds really weird for a kid that young to be just like totally into politics.
What drew you in?
You know what? Initially, it was the whole glamour around trying to do what's right for poor people.
Okay.
And then, I don't know, because I had a working class background. Dad wasn't rich when I was growing up. He worked rubbish jobs. Jobs that I've always said to myself since I was 18, 19 that I will never do.
Okay.
Because I made sure I was educated and I didn't have to do it.
Right on.
But at the same point, like, I lost my train of thought, but yeah, it's one of them.
Okay.
Politics is just, yeah.
That's what I was going to say. You said at first it was, the glamour of looking out for, the less privileged and everything. So it sounds like somewhere along the line it changed. Maybe you got into the psychology of it all. What do you think? When did the love kick up? Like me, whenever I found ECW, then my love for wrestling hit some other crazy gear. So what do you think kicked that into? Man, I like politics so much. If I was a wrestler, I'd be a politician.
I mean, I studied law at university. I studied psychology at A level, so all three kind of go hand in hand. When you've got the psychology of like why people have got the policies they've got, or why people are voting the way that they're voting, couple that with the law side, the legislative side of politics with the law. Because whilst I didn't finish my law degree, I did 2.5 years of it before I dropped out of uni, so I was only 6 months shy.
Okay.
How different my life would have been if I kept on that track. Stay in school, kids.
Well, hey. Hey.
But you know what? I wouldn't be sat here as a wrestler, or about to become a wrestler, with you today if those kind of things didn't happen. So I can't say
Exactly.
that really. But
Just
I think that's it's yeah, the psychology in the law kind of like really kick-started it, because so much of politics is psychology,
mhm,
and obviously without politics there really is no law, so to speak.
mhm.
So it all just goes hand in hand, and the explosion kind of went from there.
You talk about hand in hand. Now you're in the wrestling business. You want to talk about politics? It don't matter. You don't even have to be a good wrestler if you're good at politics. And
I think you've definitely got to be a good. You've definitely got to be a good wrestler. I mean,
well,
backhanders definitely help.
right,
I've never done that. I am a totally legit politician that would never hand over a brown envelope to anybody,
right on.
especially not anybody at Certified Pro Wrestling. They're not worthy of it.
Right.
um, but at the same time, I mean, it's all about what the people out there think. So if they think you're good whilst you're out there, then great, and they'll let you know either way.
Oh yeah, and the fans do have the final say, but yeah, politics and pro wrestling, especially here in my independent scene, you wouldn't believe, like, we don't even make money, but there's politics. It's so crazy. There's no crazy money being made, but we still play the politic game just because it's part of wrestling, and that's the fun thing to do. Yeah, you'll see. Maybe not there with
Indeed,
just,
I will.
maybe not there. It sounds like you got a good class and a good school that you're in.
I mean, I'm really lucky, yeah, because
Mhm.
I did initially start 2 3 years ago,
Okay.
and I'm not going to name names or say anything like too bad, but I didn't feel welcome,
Right.
and I mean it's the reason why there's certain things I do and don't do, and that's part of the reason.
Okay.
Um, CPW is great because they've got me out of a lot of that. But yeah, I did it for a little while back then, and I was just like, this isn't right.
Yeah.
I was like, this isn't a good fit. It's not for me. Didn't do it, and then yeah, I was really lucky that these guys started up, because I didn't think they were going to, but it all came about.
Good. Yeah, it's a very similar experience. Back in like the early 2010s, I dipped my toe in the wrestling business for a minute, and I didn't like the characters surrounding it, and it took me years to get back in. So they say everything happens
Yeah,
for a
once
reason.
that trust's gone,
Yeah.
it takes a while to get it back. But you've just got to fall in with the right guys.
What do you think made this different? Why'd you decide to give it a second go?
Probably my wife, to be fair.
Okay.
I mean, she was around the last time I tried still as well,
Hmm.
but she knows it's something that I say I'm not really into wrestling. Like, there's no. I know a lot of the guys have this like deep fandom of wrestling when they're a kid and have this massive passion for the industry. I
Hmm.
want to make the industry better. That's why I like it. I see ways that the industry can improve.
Nice.
And I mean that's what I'm all about. That's literally what I do day to day. I help my company improve.
Right on.
So it fits me perfect. There's an industry ripe for improvement. Um, so, and yeah, I think some people will probably find that weird, but yeah, I watched it for a bit, like I said, and I watch it now.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, there's just so much. There's so much as well. Like
Hmm.
trying to actually figure out what to watch and having the time to watch it
Yeah,
is just crazy.
I feel it. Because I am one of those dorks that one of the fandom ones that it's I watch more wrestling than movies. Shoot, 100 to 1, guarantee you. So I can,
Oh dear.
yeah, I promise you. Since I was 7 years old and I'm 41, so
That's
believe me,
impressive, though.
it's well, and it gives you a whole different perspective on wrestling. Like wrestlers are my movie stars, or my sports heroes. I don't even watch sports; it's all wrestling, man. So I'm a big weirdo. But
No, I think that's the good thing about wrestling, though, the fact that it's got the fan base that's been lifelong fans, but at the same part, there's aspects of it that appeal to the casual as well.
yeah,
Whereas so many sports that are out there, they don't appeal to the casuals so much because you have to be invested in how you're. If it's football over here, for example, there's such a um, what's the I don't want to say cult, but it kind of is.
yeah,
Like people get behind their club, and it really is like a cult-like following.
uh-huh.
Whereas with wrestling, it's like that for the like. If we leave the two big feds out of the equation,
Right.
because we know what that's like,
Uh-huh.
but it's for the industry as a whole.
Yeah.
Like when you ignore those, and I think that's like it's commendable.
Yeah.
Like the fact that an industry has been able to build over the years that kind of base, it's mind blowing to me.
And on the flip side of that coin, because you talk about wanting to leave it better than you found it, so we've made all these fans along the way, we've made all this history, but at its core, the business hasn't really changed. There's a lot of old school stuff, and especially over here, they don't like the change, they don't like the progress. So it's going to be hard for you to make changes, especially if it's something radical. But in in your vision, your grand vision, what would you like your legacy to be? What's some changes you'd like to make?
You know what? Making it easier for fans. I think that's like it sounds cliche. The politicians trying to win over the fans, right? But at the end of the day, the fan experience is the most important thing, and I
Okay.
think not like this. Everybody that I know in the industry does a fantastic job of putting on a show.
Hmm.
But I mean, you watch some things and it's like the crowd they don't necessarily feel part of the show.
Okay.
It kind of you can tell they're spectators.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, like I mean, especially in 2025, like if you look at other industries and what they're doing around immersive events, for example,
Hmm.
you've it's all about that, and l- there's other things, but like I think wrestling's wrestling, and it's always going to be this great phenomena that only a few people will ever fully understand.
There you go.
You've got your big names that everybody knows, understands the business inside out, and then there's obviously people that are less known that obviously still know the business inside out, but that's kind of where I'd like to be. I mean, I'm in my late 20s. If
Hmm.
I'm still knocking around the industry when I'm in my 80s, and I can say, yeah, I know pretty much everything there is to know about this industry,
Very.
and I've helped make things better, not just for the talent, but also for the fans, then I think my job as a politician will have been successful.
There you go. I dig it. And I really like to think wrestling, if somebody would just give it a shot, come to a live show. You got to come get that live experience. One thing,
You've got to.
yeah, it's a whole different. I mean, the interaction. My wife goes just so she can take out her frustration and yell at the heels.
No yelling at me.
Yeah,
That's not allowed.
we're coming clear over there to the UK, and we're yelling. You better believe that. You're going to know you got some West Virginians in your crowd.
Oh God, it would be a pleasant experience because I'd be able to properly educate you all. So it would be a great experience. But yeah, I think if there was anybody that was kind of like, oh, should I watch wrestling? Should I not watch wrestling? Watching it on TV, or I mean, over here, all of WWE's on Netflix now. So
Mhm.
over there, I know you guys have only got Raw,
Hmm.
but we've got the lot of it. So there's probably going to be loads of people going, I will give this a watch.
Okay.
And like sometimes TV wrestling for me is hard to get into.
Yeah.
But you go to a show and it's completely different. And if I can do a tenth of that, then like on Sunday, then I'll have done a good job in my opinion. I just need to make sure, as I said earlier, I just need to make sure I'm getting enough votes from the crowd because my name needs to be on that title eventually.
I dig it. I dig it. Heck yeah, man. And like you said, with it being on Netflix, everything's on over there. There's going to be some folks wanting to check out independent wrestling, and I'm always the first to say it's all about timing. Everything happens for a reason. Y'all got your first show Sunday. You say it's this coming Sunday, right?
This coming Sunday, yep.
Yeah, man. I'd say the timing's
Wait, it's
there.
two shows.
Two
Two shows in one day.
Ooh. Okay, give me the location. Give me the rundown.
So it's going to be it's at the Institute in Braintree.
Okay.
I think show one is. I'm terrible at timings, you know. I know what time I've got to be there.
You know your stuff.
I know my stuff. I think it's 1 till 3 for show one, and then I think it's. No, it might be 2 till 4. Yeah, I think it's 2 till 4 and then 5 till 7.
Okay.
Either that or it's 1 till 3 and then 4 till 6. But the first one sounds more right. That's terribly bad that I don't know the timings to my own show. But like I said, I know what time I've got to be there. That's the important part. As long as I get there,
Very
the
interesting.
show will go on.
To us uneducated Americans, what region of the UK we talking when you said that town name that I can't pronounce?
So we're down in Essex, which is east of England, so
Okay.
about 50 miles outside London.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, cool. And you say this is 2 different shows on the same day?
So it's graduation day twice.
Gotcha.
So there's we sold out in very, very quick.
Really?
So yeah, the Mr. Paris, as fantastic as he is, and I must admit, the politician in me definitely agrees with his decision to fully capitalise on it and put the second show on as well. And it's just it's a great experience as well because, I mean, it's not very often that you're going to be able to do 2 shows in one day.
Yeah.
Well, I would imagine anyway. I can't. I'm not talking from experience there, but I would imagine it's not very often that's going to happen.
First one sold out.
It's an experience,
So you had to sell a completely different show.
and that sold out as well.
Really?
Yeah, sold out really, really quick. So people are definitely eager to see what we're all about and what we're capable of. So.
In your estimation, where's all this excitement coming from? Because, I mean, over here in the States, you pop up a new promotion, I guarantee you ain't selling out the first day.
I don't like to put him over, but it's all down to Mr. Paris, really, in that regard. He's done a great job with the parent promotion, Championship Extreme Wrestling.
Okay.
I don't think I've been to a single event that hasn't sold out.
Okay.
With them, and there's 30 of us in the school as well. So
Right.
yeah, it's an area where there's a couple of promotions, but it's not oversaturated either.
Okay.
So it's really they've just done a really good job. They've like you say, timing is everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And any other time, would it have worked? Who knows? But the timings that they've picked, it's been perfect. Might be different for the next show in April. Who knows?
Right.
But we'll get to April when we get to April. For now, it's looking good for Sunday.
Hell yeah. I'm super curious. And you're saying there's no nerves, huh?
Wouldn't say no nerves, but I mean, I'm not bricking it either.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a good thing. I mean, I'm just going to politic my way through it. Say what I'm going to say, do what I've got to do. Just another day at the office.
Okay. I'm curious too, because your mind doesn't work like mine, obviously. I'm the longtime wrestling fan. You're the guy that's just now, you're kind of in and out of love with wrestling from my perspective, at least looking in. So for the championship, if I was to go for a championship, it's out of love and for the glory and for pro wrestling. For a guy like you, is it credibility that comes along with the championship? Why the desire for the championship?
the credibility, it's the validity.
Right on.
And I mean, at the end of the day, the championships mean something to everybody, whether you're a lifelong fan, whether you're a politician, whether you're a guy that's a truck. Like championships have obviously meaning to us all, and I think that they need to be on the correct people. And those of us that are more educated among society, it just shows our status and reinforces that, and it puts everybody else in their place, quite frankly.
All right.
So that's where I sit with championships. It'll mean a lot. I mean, yeah, there's as you said, the in and out of love with wrestling. So there's that 12-year-old inside of me,
Right.
or however old I was when I saw the Shield debut, that'll act one way, but it's all about goals. It's all about ambition, and it's all about education. Because if I get a title, people have to listen to me.
Okay, I dig it. And you said you're a big fan of the titles being on the right people. So obviously you don't like it when the titles are on the wrong people. Looking at the big overall scene, the big shots, who shouldn't be a champion right now? What disturbs you? Who should not have a title right now, you think?
Oh, I've got to think about who's got what title now.
Yeah, now we're got to think.
Now you're putting me on the spot.
Let's see. I wonder if I can even think of all of them.
I mean, Cody's still got his title. I think
Yeah.
he won it. He won at Rumble.
Yeah.
I think he's had his time. He finished his story. Kevin Owens is the rightful champion. Let's face it.
Ah, I see. Exactly.
Let's give him the winged eagle as he deserves, and move on.
Oh man, healing it up.
I'm a massive Kevin Steen, Kevin Owens. I was dipping in and out of TNA around the time that he was there. So I've seen a lot of the stuff that he does. So Cody, I was an AEW fan back in the day, so I'm bitter.
I got you. Hey, I was bitter because I loved Cody and AEW, and I was like, why y'all booing him? Be nice. He just took a flaming table bump for you, and you're still booing him. Shame on y'all.
I'll give him his dues, though. My favourite Cody match, Stardust versus the Green Arrow.
Really? Okay. Hey, that's a good one.
Yeah, that tag match that they had with Neville, Pac when he was Neville, and somebody else. I can't remember who else was involved in it now. But that was brilliant.
Yeah.
I was watching Green Arrow at the time, so the crossover for me. I mean, again, I was in my late teens, I think, when that happened. So yeah, that was a big moment for me. I liked that.
Okay, I can imagine. When I fell in love with Cody's whenever he left, when he went on that indie run, I was watching all the dates when he started with Evolve, everything. I followed that whole journey, and it was a fun one. I'll let he can have the title as long as he wants to have it. I don't care. Oh man. Well, let's think about. You said you used to be an AEW fan. What happened?
All In kind of put me off when I went to that live event.
Okay.
And then I just realised, the big companies are better watched on TV, and then time and life's busy, man.
Yeah. That's a really good way of putting it. It's not that their product's bad. I miss a lot of it because life's busy, and that's where I can take a little chunk and get it back. And I'm sorry, sometimes I miss AEW. So I think that's a good way of putting it.
And I mean, I'm all for my research, but the lads down at the school will rib me sometimes because they'll be like, "Are you are you really into this?" Because I haven't got a clue what's going on in the big leagues sometimes, and I'm like now it's on Netflix. I'm trying to keep up, but already I'm 2 weeks behind.
Yeah.
Life's just so busy, and there's not enough time in the day to keep up with everything.
Oh man, and you get burnt out. Even I get burnt out. Sometimes I have to skip some shows because I'm constantly editing wrestling, so I'm always watching the local stuff or doing this or that. There has to be some time without wrestling. But I will recommend,
Definitely,
sir,
for sure.
I will say AEW Grand Slam Australia was a damn good show. Even if you just watch that opening match, like,
I've seen some clips from that. That looks like a banging show, to be fair.
it was nice to see them have their magic back for a night. That was cool.
Although I did hear that they didn't take their own ring.
Yeah, and they borrowed the indie ring, and hey, hell
That
yeah.
must have been an impressive moment for that indie company, though, just being approached by AEW and going, hey, we want to borrow your ring.
And then I read into it, yeah, and I guess WWE does the same thing when they go overseas. They'll rent some independent rings, so, hey, man, it happens. Everybody, I think
Indeed it does.
in the year 2025, everybody's working together a lot more than they used to. I think there's hope.
I think you've got to. It's all about collaboration at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like you said, there's a lot of politics in wrestling. But even there, you wouldn't get anywhere if it wasn't for collaboration. So
Yeah. That's when things get exciting. But at the same time, the collaborations are so exciting because wrestling's so divided and you never thought you'd see this and you're not used to seeing this. So it's a weird balancing act, I guess.
I think that's one of the good things about CPW as well, is like, it's horrible. Because I mean, as I've said, there's just some people in there that are so uneducated, but it's so, I don't know if magical is the right word, but it's mind blowing that something like this can just pop up fairly out of nowhere. And I don't want to claim that it's been massively successful, but to have 30 guys that most of which are ready to go on to their first show in 10 months.
Yeah.
And like it's not the 2-3 year thing that you hear some people talk about. It's 10 months that we've been doing this.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it like, without the collaborations and everything that go on, none of this would have been possible.
Good.
But like I said, it's one of those wonderful things, but it's blooming horrible at the same time.
Well, hey, we talk about all the time on the show, about every episode, we talk about peaks and valleys. So you've been at it, for this run since April. Give me the peak, give me the valley, give me your high point, give me your low points so far.
My low point was probably when I did my knee in.
Okay.
I had a knee injury around September, October last year.
Okay.
That was painful.
I'm sure.
That had me out for a good month and a half.
Really?
Which is horrible because you just miss so much.
I'm sure.
I mean, we do Wednesday evenings 2 hours, beginner and advanced, and then we do the ring sessions on a Sunday.
Okay.
And so you can imagine, even if it's just like a week that you're out, Sunday's like an 8-hour session. So
Really?
you miss that, and you've missed loads.
Okay.
So, so it's horrible in that sense. But just recovery as well on that. It just, man, I don't know. I mean, I've got a gammy back. I've had a gammy knee for a little while. So when your knee gets injured and you've had previous knee injuries before, you go, is it all over before it's even started?
I'm sure.
So that was pretty tough. But I've got a good coach, as I've said. So his words of wisdom and words of encouragement helped get through it. Hot tub on my anniversary weekend definitely helped as well.
Okay.
I did a bit of hydrotherapy, water aerobics while I was in the hot tub. That worked wonders. So if anybody ever gets a muscle or a ligament injury, hot water,
Okay.
hot tub, and stretch it. It works very well. And then the high point, it's probably going to be Sunday, as
Right.
weird as it sounds. I don't think it's happened yet. Like, it's not going to be real for me until it happens anyway.
Right.
I mean, I could get hit by a bus tomorrow, and then it doesn't happen. So,
Yeah.
realist over here.
Right.
So I think that'll be the high point because, yeah, I mean, I'm autistic, so most things are straight line for me anyway.
Okay.
But yeah, it'd have to be, or find. No, yeah, I reckon it'll be Sunday.
Heck yeah. So you're a realist. You know the best is yet to come. So I'm about it. I dig it, man. It sounds like I said, you guys are building something special. You're right on track to do it this Sunday. And you guys are training twice a week, you say?
Yeah, we do twice a week. Yep.
Hey, man, I think you got, like you said, from April till now, I'm sure you guys will kill it. It's impressive that you're ready, but it sounds, I know that the guy wouldn't put on the show if you guys weren't ready, so.
No, that's it. I mean, Paris wouldn't bother if there wasn't enough of us that were ready to put on a good show. And I think I mean, there's a bunch of inept, uneducated wannabes on there, which is the whole problem with BritRest, and one of the things that the SPP are going to help get rid of. But we'll get there, and it's going to be great. And I mean, I'm fairly confident both shows are sold out. So that's impressive in itself. And then it's going to go up on IWTV as well.
Nice.
So anyone that isn't able to get to the show is going to be able to watch it. So it's an incredible opportunity, because there's a lot of people that might be in a similar situation that aren't going to get that same experience.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. And whether, these people are uneducated, the rest of the roster you're talking about, that's a bond you guys are always going to have as this company grows. Y'all were all in that first show together, so I tell her.
And that's it. And most of us were there on day one as well. So
yeah.
we're the original group. And we are certainly plowing a future in BritRest that I think is definitely going to be one to worth watching.
Yeah, man. Y'all are making history, but take time to enjoy it. Take time to enjoy it. That's what I tell everybody, man, because you get so wrapped up and things are going so fast. Just try to take time out this weekend, step back and say, we're doing it. Let's do this.
Yeah, Saturday is chill day.
Yeah, there you go.
Saturday, I've made sure I've got no public speaking events. There's no there's no campaigning going on.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday is at home in my underwear, not doing anything.
Good.
And then Sunday, it's game on, back at the office.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. Well, my man, we've reached the final 10 minutes of the show. In the final 10, I give everybody a chance to put out their socials. If you got any merch, upcoming dates, we've covered that. Might as well do it again. At the same time, if there's anything you want to get off your chest, anything that you wanted to say you haven't said, my platform's your platform, and you just have at it.
Socials, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, Facebook. Type in the Submission Politician and you'll find me somewhere.
Okay.
Make sure you vote for me, obviously. Graduation day this Sunday, 23rd of February. It's going to be phenomenal. And like I said, for those of you that can't be there in person to watch it, it'll be going out on IWTV afterwards later down the line. So that will be announced on the Certified Pro Wrestling socials when that goes out.
Nice.
One question I always like to ask people, I've been on outside of wrestling, lots of radio shows, podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I like to always ask the people that I'm speak to, and I know that you've spoken to a lot of people. So who would you say? Other than myself, of course, because I'm the most educated and insightful person that anybody would ever want to speak to.
Very true.
But who would be the most insightful person that you think you've spoken to over your time doing this?
Okay, that's a good question. Because, man, there's been so many perspectives. We recently had PCO, and you talk about covering different countries, different times, different eras. I had Jason Knight that gave me a peek into ECW. Man. But since it's recent, I'll go with PCO, because he
that was a good one. I saw that one.
Okay, yeah, he covered a lot of good ground, so I got to give it to my boy PCO.
Awesome stuff. Well, thank you very much for having me on, man.
I appreciate you. I appreciate your patience, because, man, I had this week all screwed up, and they say shit rolls downhill, and you's the last of the podcast, so the shit all rolled on you, and you came through it, and by God, you was patient. I appreciate you, my man.
Patience, it only goes so far, and I had to educate you on how not to do that again. So I couldn't miss out on this fantastic opportunity to do that.
Well, you're a smart man. You're still a wise man, so I'll give you that. I tell you what, I'll ask you to hang on the line with me so I can apologize after I wrap it up with the visitors, the viewers. And yeah, man, this is why we do it. Folks living their dreams, and it's coming down to this Sunday. Get down to somewhere in Britain. Where's it going to be at again?
It's in Braintree in Essex.
There you go. I knew it was around Essex somewhere. So, yeah, get down there and stand outside because it's sold out, bitch. You ain't getting in. Just stay tuned to IWTV and you'll see it soon enough. Spooky Lou's worn out, man. I promised y'all a podcast every day this week. This is the final one. Let me rest. Tune into the classic West Virginia wrestling. Enjoy that. And we'll be back here soon enough with more guests. Probably even more from the UK scene. I'd like to talk to more. You guys are interesting to me. Go out there. Live your dreams. Treat each other with kindness and respect. Don't take no shit from no one. And I guess if we learned anything today, you better go get an education. Because you ain't shit without an education. So you better go educate yourself. Spooky Lou loves you. We're out of here.